I've been invited to speak about my book, 1939, The War That Had Many Fathers. When I was a young general staff officer, I had to develop a plan for future armored forces of the Bundeswehr beyond a 15 years time horizon. So I searched for examples of similar armament plannings before World War II worldwide. To do that, I had to read a lot of American, Czech, British and French literature of the pre-war period. What I found, to my surprise, were many pointers and hard facts about the preparations and intentions of American, British, Polish and French politicians of the 20s and 30s to wage war against Germany. I had never seen a reference of that in writings of German historians before. So I became curious, looked at the list of references which the authors quoted, went to the mentioned archives and found many interesting facts which were hitherto unknown in Germany. After I had retired, I decided to write a book about it. One can put blame on oneself by causing an injustice, by triggering an injustice, and by committing. It is remarkable that since the end of World War II, it has only ever been discussed and described who has triggered the war, namely Germany. But that is only one part of the war guilt of World War II. It has nearly never been examined and described who else has participated in causing the war and thus shares in the war guilt. You will, for instance, discover nothing about the conduct of Poland, France and Czechoslovakia towards Austria and Germany towards the prior 20-year period. The current and accepted historiography begins only ever when Germany commences to react and to resist. The causes of World War II that had occurred within the 20 years before are not taught in high schools and universities, and thereby they are extinguished from the collective memory of the world, even as far as teachers and historians are concerned. Hence, only the partial guilt of triggering the war remains present in the collective memory. Thus, by consigning the other part of the guilt to obscurity, namely that of causing the war, our share in the war guilt becomes our sole responsibility for the origin of World War II. By the way, the same treatment applies to Japan regarding the war in the Pacific. It is impossible for me to condense the 670 pages of my book into a 30-minute lecture. If you want to acquaint yourself with the sources, circumstantial evidence and proofs on which I have based myself, I request you to turn to my book, The War That Had Many Fathers. I therefore have to confine myself to stating the conclusions to which the archive material and the original documents have led me.